Let's do an energetic check-in this morning. I'm going to do a check-in for a couple of my clients, and I want to just muscle test where they're at with their energy in conjunction to the goals that I know they want to achieve. So the first one here, I spoke about her last week actually. We did a energetic cleanse because when I did an Instagram reading of her page, it came up that there's this like really dark energy attached to her. And when actually talking to her, what we discovered is that her grandmother had given her at Christmas time this ritual that was passed down through the family generations that they used to clear energy, and she just hadn't done anything with it yet. So she ended up doing that after I told her about what I saw on her Instagram page. And she had such a big shift. Actually, she's still calibrating from it because it was such a big shift, and she really felt it physically. And actually, so did her animals. She's got some cats. And they felt the energy shift instantly. So she's feeling so much more positive about life and really in this deep sense of gratitude, which is a really beautiful outcome when we do any sort of energy clearing like that. But she is looking to align herself with seven clarity calls for the next 2 weeks. So I want to just check in here to see what this tests. And let's go yes, no, yep. Okay, we're all calibrated this morning. So alignment to 7 clarity calls for the next 2 weeks: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 90%. So we're almost there. That feels really good actually. What's that last 10%? What are we missing here? Emotional. What's coming up here is truth. So there's just more layers of stuff coming up. Good morning, Stephanie. So yes, when it comes up as truth and the emotion of truth, what this normally tells me is there's something that's not in your consciousness yet, that is still rising, that is letting you know on what you might need to do, what you might need to shift, anything that is really in the unknown now. And most of this is a deeper truth of how we feel, right? So that's only the last 10%. So if it's the last 10%, this is actually telling me there's nothing we need to do. It's really only when I muscle test things, 30% or more, that there's really significant shifts in your energy that needs to happen, or your belief system, or the way that you're thinking. But when it's only coming down to that 10%, what this is telling me is take action, move towards it, and as you do the moving, that you might notice little beliefs or little things that are coming up, because only 10%, so it's not a big thing, that we can shift through. In saying that, that is not meaning that if she's not 100%, she's not going to start with those sales starting to flow through. Absolutely they will. Right? So if you have any questions based on where you're at today, feel free to pop it in the comments below. So that's what truth generally always is there's something deeper within me that I haven't discovered yet. And normally, when we just put this person aside for a moment, when we look at deeper truths, right, that we haven't discovered yet, normally that's like, okay, this is the goal. It feels so good to have that goal. I'd love that goal in my world when it manifests. All those clients and money would be amazing. There's something in that just there that is telling you that you're not seeing properly. What do I mean by that? Because when we have a goal that when we look at it, it's like, yes, that's it. That's what I want. And we don't feel any, I don't want to say negativity, but any stagnant energy, fears, worries, doubts around, then there's something that we're not seeing, because the reality is it hasn't manifested into your world yet. So when it hasn't manifested into your world, it is telling you there's something keeping it away, right? And in that time between now and your manifestation coming into your reality is a learning, a growth, a dismantling of an old belief, a healing of an old trauma, anything like that. Right? And so it's really feeling into what is that is in my way. Yes, what haven't I discovered yet? So Patricia, tell me, what is your goal? So there might be something that you haven't discovered yet, but let's have a look at what your goal is. And then we can really decide, okay, between where you are and the goal that you want to bring into your world, what needs to shift, right? There is something here for you. Let's have a look here. I'm getting more guidance. There's like a nervous system of stuckness, regular high income reflecting my worth. Okay, this is a real, that statement there is so potent, Patricia. Because when you say a regular high income reflecting your worth, what that is actually saying, that if you don't currently have that high income that reflects your true worth, then there's a part, the worth part is what needs to be worked on. There's a part of you that says, I'm not that worthy, right? I am not good enough. I am not something enough, right? And so it's that within that I'm not enoughness where your income is always, and now this is not just for you, this is for everyone's income is always reflecting how they currently see themselves, right? Your income reflects your identity that you currently hold about yourself. Your income currently reflects your nervous system. Right? So if your income is not reflecting your worth right now, that's because you're not seeing yourself as worthy for that high income. Right? They both have to match. So it's like, who do I need to be for that income to just naturally come in? We know that when we go, say for example, let's put it this way, if we go to create an offer, if we go to apply for a job, we know instinctively what the minimum amount we're going to charge, right? I know that if I go for a job, that the minimum wage I will accept is X. I know if I'm going to put out an offer, this is the minimum that I'm going to accept. Because here's the reality, we don't rise to our standards, we fall to our beliefs, right? Your beliefs of what you think about yourself is where we automatically fall to, and that is such an important reminder. So let's have a look on how you see yourself. If we say put 100% based on what your true worth is, where are you currently sitting at the moment? And that is 0 to 5 to 10 to 20 to 30 to 40%, right? So what do you need to do to close that gap? What I get here is that you're externalizing your worth. What do I mean by that? And so many people do this, so don't feel bad. And tell me if this resonates with you. So when I see how much I'm worth, I'm really looking at how people see me. When you look at, am I good enough? Am I skillful enough? Am I whatever enough? What you're looking is for external validation to make that true. But what that means is that I'm constantly looking for other people to reflect back at me what they think I'm worth, and then I will take that on board, right? Instead of going, okay, what am I actually worth? You know, what is my actual value? Because that's infinite. But a lot of us do outsource it. And the reason why we outsource it is because we never got that validation in the first place when we were growing up. So there's a part of us that obviously craves that now. So what we get to do is we get to go, okay, if I was the only person in my proximity, if all my friends, family, social environment was not there, how would I see myself? And so we get to shut down the noise of everyone else around you and start to come back into yourself. Does that resonate with you, Patricia? So it's like, if you hurt me, then I'm hurt. If you tell me I'm not good enough, then that must mean I'm not good enough. If you tell me that I can't do this or that, that must mean that I can't do this or that. But you're seeing, definitely, she says, yeah. So you're seeing yourself through the eyes of other people that have their own healing to do. And when other people put you down, when other people don't see your value, when other people don't think you're worthy or good enough or pretty enough or whatever it is, right, they are only seeing you through their own set of beliefs, through their own set of values, through their own worth, which is ultimately not ultimate truth. So part of growing our business, growing ourselves, growing our finances is, can I not care about anyone else's opinions? Because at the end of the day, they're opinions and they are not facts. If he likes me, she likes me, doesn't matter. If they want to put me down, doesn't matter. Can I still stand solid and strong, knowing that there are people that out there that love me, there are people out there that hate me, there are people out there that think that I'm nutso, anything like that. You know, I was talking to this acupuncturist years ago. Actually, it was, about 6 years ago now. And she was saying to me that everyone in her family thinks she's woo-woo by helping people heal through putting needles in their body. Right? For some of us, that idea of an acupuncturist being woo-woo or magical is just out of this world because there's so much science that backs it. Right? But at the end of the day, it's not about you defending yourself. It's about you knowing yourself. Because defensive energy is pushing away energy. But if I just know that I'm good enough, I know that I'm worthy. If you just know that you are unshakable no matter what anyone else thinks, that's magnetic energy. And we all do to a certain point, right? If we look at, can you get one client this month, right? To someone that's used to getting, 1,000, 100, 50, 10, they're going to go, absolutely, like there's certainty there. So you need to find that level of self-worth that you know is 100% certain and work from there. I get in this as well, Patricia, there is some past hurt that you haven't been able to move through yet. And this is an important part of your forward journey, is to learn how to move through that. When you can let the past be the past, and not from a cognitive sense, from a nervous system sense, from a heart sense, when you can create a cleaner slate for yourself and move forward, you will be able to see so much more potential in yourself than you ever have before, right? It's like your inner world cleanses, and that's what is required of you right now. Does that make sense for you, lovely? Yes, the past just resurfaced. Yeah. So, and here's the reality. This is for everyone here. When our past resurfaces, gives us an indication of one of two things, right? Do we still need to work with it, to heal it, to move through it? Or is it showing us a part of ourselves that has already moved through it, depending on how we react to it, right? I had a part of my past resurface a few weeks ago, and I definitely was able to see this through a totally different lens than I'd ever had before. It was very much a non-attachment sort of lens, a lens more of acceptance for that people haven't changed, but yet my reaction to it gets to be different, right? So this gets to be, is it telling you that there's still work to be done here? Or is it telling you that you've already done the work? And your nervous system, the calmness in your body, will be able to show you the difference. Yeah. Do you know, it's quite interesting when you have these sort of scenarios rise from the past and you have moved through it, that you see these people in such a different light. And maybe it's people that you used to respect, or you used to fear, or you used to look up to. And now, because they haven't changed, and all it does is show you their level of immaturity, or their level of the lack of control that they have within themselves, that they try and project that control onto others, or whatever it might be, right? And the part of you that gets to change within you, that is centered, that can easily disconnect from it, can easily just let it be what it is without feeding into it. So this gets to be a process for you, Patricia, on how can you work through on accepting the past for what it was without having that energetic attachment and emotional attachment to it. And sometimes this is not an easy process, but it's definitely a necessary one for you to move forward. So that's where I'd work for you is, can I let it be whatever it is without having to attach an emotion, a story, the word excuse comes up, but I know that's not the right word here. It's the only one that I can reach for right now. And sometimes we do make excuses for where we are based on the past. And it's like, in that acknowledgement, can I then claim back my power to be able to sit myself in a spot that goes, yes, that was the past, that was my past me, and I get to choose differently. So that is your work, and I feel like it's saying it's about 60% of your work is about letting my past be the past and disconnecting from it. Let's see what else we have here. If there's anyone else that is on here that wants me to do some muscle testing for them, please feel free to jump on. Yes, I have one more here. I have another client that I'm meeting with this morning, and her goal is another 5 to 7K for this week. And so Patricia says perspective, yes. Yeah, and when we look at healing at its core is having a perspective shift. And it's like, can we create, there's many ways to create the perspective shifts, and two is, the whole goal is to, can I have a perspective shift with this event, with this person, that ultimately brings calmness into my world. And sometimes that's knowing where your distance gets to be and accepting them for purely who they are. Like, I was talking to someone yesterday about a particular person from my past, and where they're just not going to change, right? They're going to keep being manipulative. They're going to keep being, try and be as controlling in their way as possible. And they're not going to change. So asking someone to change is literally like banging your head against a brick wall, because you can't make anyone change. They can change if they want to change. They can say change if they see that there is something in them worth changing. But we can never, ever, ever make anyone change. Right? We can suggest, we can guide, we can encourage, but that alone is not what creates change. Change needs to happen from a decision within each and every single one of us, right? So for me, it's, yes, I get to accept this person for the way he is. He is manipulative. He is controlling in his own way through that manipulation, and I get to distance myself because I don't want that in my world. It doesn't feel good, and I really have strong boundaries around creating a world of peace and calmness. And if you don't fit into that, you don't fit into it. So I just want to jump onto this client here, another 5 to 7K this week. Let's break this down. It feels like there's two very different numbers here. And I know sometimes it just feels like there's $2,000 in between, but for this particular person, it feels like a big gap. So let's go alignment with $5,000, an extra $5,000 this week is 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 80%. That feels good. Alignment with $7,000 this week, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, so it's a bit less. Yes. So let's say, what does she need to do to that get 100% in alignment with that last 20%? For this particular girl, it always comes up with embarrassment. And we've moved through layers of this, but it feels deeper this time. And this is, so when we go through things in our past that can conjure up different emotions, like things like this can surface, and sometimes there's layers of it. And so this is just one of those things. So is it inward embarrassment, outward embarrassment, embarrassment being seen? Yes. Being heard, being truthful. Yeah, embarrassment in the truth. Truth of herself, truth of her work, truth of others. What does that mean? Especially when I muscle test, it all comes down to intention, right? So when I say truth of herself, it's like herself, her story, her core beliefs. Truth of, what did I say? Truth of her work, how she perceives her work, and truth of others, what she believes in other people, what they need to do on their path, what they need to do in conjunction with their offers, how she sees other people. Actually, let's go further into this. Does she see them as positive, negative? Positive, negative. More negative. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Yeah, more negative. Does she see them as what's the word I'm looking for here? It's not self-reflective, but self-ownership. Does she see them as taking self-ownership? No. Okay. No to self-ownership. So in this, I'd actually have a strategic conversation with her. Because if she's seeing her audience as people that don't take self-ownership, do you actually want those sort of people into your business? Right? And who would you prefer instead? Because there are people out there that don't take self-ownership, absolutely, for sure. But there's also people that do. And so we have to be careful who we're actually targeting to if we have beliefs underneath about ourselves, about our work, about other people, and how that all connects together. Right? So this is a question that you guys can ask yourself is, when I look at people out there that are looking at my content, that are looking at my business, that are looking at my work, how do I perceive them? What's my thoughts about them? Do I think they're fast action takers? Do I think they take self-accountability? Do I think they're people I want to work with? Do I think they're going to be hard work? Do I think the sale's going to take a long time to close? What are my immediate beliefs around it all? Do I believe that I need to make clients jump through hoops to come on board with me? Do they need to do a sales call before they can just say yes to a package? Do I believe that they need to consume a certain amount of content of mine before they are primed enough to come into my world, right? And what this all has to do with is how much do you believe that you need to prove yourself for clients to buy? And so have a look on what you think, what your thoughts are around people that are observing your world and your content. So I'm going to leave you with that there for this week or for today. If you have any questions, feel free to jump into my DMs. I'm always in there, and enjoy the rest of your day.